Hey there, welcome to another episode of Life Reimagined. Today's conversation is about one of my most favorite topics and something that I can talk about for hours, but I've made sure to cut it down into small chunks to keep this podcast shorter. And we are probably going to have a lot more conversations on this topic because there's just so much to talk about. So let's dive into this whole idea of the mind body connection. Well, actually, let's just say one big aspect of the mind body connection, which is how emotions impact your physical health. This is the Life Reimagined podcast. I'm Aditi Goyal, and this is your space to explore growth, healing, and living life on your own terms. Because sometimes all it takes is one conversation to shift everything. And the reason I say that this is just one of the aspects of the mind body connection is because there are just so many different layers to this, right? There's the stress response, epigenetics, the vagus nerve, the nervous system, the psychosomatic theory, psychoneuroimmunology, and just so many different concepts around this very complex system of the mind body. Okay, so all of these things are interconnected. But what I want to talk about today is how emotions and the ones that we feel on a daily basis, like anxiety or fear or guilt, get stuck in the body. And this happens because of the way we live, right? We're not always very tuned into our bodies, and we're not always aware of what's going on inside, of what we are feeling, because, life's happening and we have to go to work and take care of children and manage the house. And there's just so many things going on, which creates this lack of processing, of this lack of being able to process emotions, and this lack of being able to be tuned in to what's going on inside, what's going on in my internal world. And this whole lack of being tuned in can sometimes create so many symptoms in the body. So stay with me. This might feel like a little abstract, it's like, okay, what is she talking about? How are my emotions really coming into my body, and how are they creating symptoms? And it can feel like a lot, but it's all going to make sense as we go further along in this conversation. So let's dive in. Now, before we explore what I mean by emotions not being processed, and that creating issues in the body, I want to first explore the idea of stress. Okay, because now that's something that most people can relate to. Even people who have no idea about the mind body connection will know that stress causes issues somewhere, right? That's just basic understanding that if I am too stressed, if I'm stressing out too much on a daily basis, it will impact my health, right? So, what exactly is stress? Now, while there's a whole academic and a dictionary definition of stress, I really don't want to go into that. We're not trying to write research papers, but to talk about stress in a language that we all can understand and relate to and do something out of it. Stress is basically something that's going on in my life that is not okay, right? And it's creating some sort of an inner disturbance. So maybe I have a deadline tomorrow that I know that I won't be able to meet. Inner disturbance. Maybe I had an argument with my partner about something that's just really important to me, and it just felt like he's not understanding me. Inner disturbance. Maybe I just feel stuck in my career. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I feel a lot of uncertainty, and I'm in this place of not knowing what comes next. There it is again, right? Inner disturbance. So essentially, any sort of event or circumstance that I'm not able to deal with, which is creating this inner disturbance, is what we generally call stress. Okay. So, but what is this inner disturbance? It is actually nothing but emotion. Okay. And it's going to be different depending on different situations. So, if it's a career uncertainty, like I just mentioned, it's probably going to feel like anxiety or fear. If it's an argument with my partner, it's probably going to feel like anger, like, oh God, he just doesn't understand what I'm trying to say, where I'm coming from. Or it might even be sadness in the same situation where I'm just feeling invalidated, like my partner does not understand me. Okay, so depending on whatever the situation is that's creating this inner disturbance, there is some emotion that's getting created. Now, us being the evolved species that we are, so busy and got up with life, like we don't know how to or even have the time to process these emotions and let them move through us, right? So they just sit inside, stuck, suppressed in our bodies, waiting for us to slow down and allow them to be processed, and be dealt with. Because emotion is nothing but energy in motion, right? And all it wants to do is just move through you, right? And every time I talk about emotions, I just love giving this example of a small child. Okay, so if there's a child who's angry, maybe because he's had a fight with his friend, you'll look at them and he'll probably scream at his friend, maybe even hit each other a little bit, or just get all crazy, and it's very obvious that he's angry. But within 2 to 3 minutes of that yelling and screaming or hitting or whatever, the anger is just all out, right? And they're just back to being best friends, because that energy of anger that was created because of whatever reason has just moved right through their bodies, and it's just out, right? They don't need to hold grudges, they don't need to sit with it for the rest of the day or for even months. It's just out, right? And it actually is really that simple. It's just energy, and it just needs to move through you. Okay, so it's like a wave. It just kind of comes up, and you need to allow it to come up and then just go back down. But we as adults can't really do that, because of course we can't scream and we can't hit people, we can't process our anger in the same way that children do. But what ends up happening is that we actually never process it, we never express our anger or allow it to be seen and heard, and so it just sits there inside, bubbling up, getting stored, waiting to just burst out one day. Yeah, it's kind of like stuffing things into a junk drawer. When you keep shoving things inside thinking, I'll deal with this later, but eventually the drawer can't close anymore, right? And the mess spills out whether you're ready or not. And our bodies are exactly the same. The emotions that we ignore are not just going to disappear. They get stored until one day they are just too much, and they show up as tension, fatigue, or even chronic pain in the body. So, this is the basic idea about how emotions can really impact your body on a physical level. And of course, there are so many different layers to it. There's so much deeper that we can go, talking about the science of why emotions can get stored. And, because we usually think that emotions are just in the mind, right? If I'm feeling anger or sadness, it's in the brain, it's up there. But science has actually been showing of late that it is felt in the body. There are actual neuropeptides and all of those released into the body, and all of the cells experience anger or anxiety or guilt or whatever it is that we are feeling. But I don't want to get too much into the science of it right now, though this is something that I do talk about in my mind body connection course. And if it's something that you are interested in, you can definitely go check it out. Of course, we talk a lot more about the mind body than just the science behind it. There are also a lot of practical tools, and how can I really use this knowledge to my advantage to improve my health and well-being. But anyway, I just wanted to emphasize that stress, which is an inner disturbance, is nothing but an emotion that has not really been dealt with. It hasn't been processed and is just sitting inside waiting to come out. Now, moving on, let's get a little deeper. I also love this whole idea that I came across of the body being a mirror of your life. Okay, so this is something that I again go deeper into the mind body connection course, and actually also in a free masterclass that I've created for the mind body connection. If you want to just explore it a little deeper without enrolling for the whole complete course, so you'll find the links to both of them in the show notes. But coming back, the body being a mirror is the idea that whatever is happening in my life internally, in terms of my thoughts, my feelings, my patterns, will be reflected back to me through my body. So if I've been feeling, say, insecure, or if I've been feeling not so much like myself, or a little afraid to be completely myself, maybe my skin will start showing some acne. Or it can also just be very simple and very straightforward, like, say I'm doing a job where I have to sit for 10 hours a day and my back is just really struggling to keep up with it, and so it will cause some pain, some back issue, which draws my attention there, makes me stop, um, because the body is just letting me know, hey, this isn't working, you need to change it. So the symptoms of the body are in constant communication with us. And if we can stop medicating and numbing the symptoms that come up with medicines or with food or with whatever it is that works for you, these symptoms actually carry a lot of wisdom, right? They carry so many important messages about what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong in our lives, and probably what needs to also be changed. And I personally love this idea of the body being a mirror because it's just such a cool thing. I mean, imagine knowing with so much detail and precision what my internal world is looking like, what my daily thoughts are, patterns are, feelings are, emotions are. Like, whenever I get a cold, I know that I've been feeling super overwhelmed and super confused, and there's just too much going on. And my body is letting me know by creating a cold. So it's a great way for me to know that okay, I need to slow down, right? It's getting too much. I need to take it easy. And it can just be so empowering to know that your body is really on your side, right? We don't have to keep blaming it and keep criticizing it, like, why are you like this? Why do you keep paining all day? And why are you punishing me? And why can't you just be healthy? And, but instead, actually see it as something that is on our side and is actually just communicating things to us. And we can start maybe working with it and get into this relationship where we are communicating with it and understanding what it's trying to tell us and making the necessary changes. Because the body is not punishing you, right? It's just trying to protect you, it's just trying to keep you safe and healthy in the long run. And when you stop fighting the symptoms and start listening to the message, that's where the healing begins. So while I could go on and on about this topic, I'll keep it short for today. But before we end this, I want to leave you with something important to reflect on or even try out for yourself. So the next time that you are feeling a symptom, right? A small symptom, whether it's pain or tension or fatigue or discomfort in some part of the body, instead of ignoring it, pushing it away, popping some pills, maybe try this, just pause, take a breath, pause, focus on that part of your body, and then ask it, what is this trying to tell me? What is my body trying to tell me? And yes, it might not be as easy as it sounds because it can really take some time to connect with yourself, to tune into your body and to its sensations. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And trust me, it's absolutely worth it. Because honestly, what do you have if you don't have your health? Right? All right, I'll leave you with that for now. If this resonates and you'd like to go deeper, do sign up for the free masterclass on Mind Body Connection or even enroll for the complete Mind Body course. This is where we go much deeper into these topics and we explore the practical side of it as well and build on a whole toolkit of quick, easy, effective techniques that you can use to build your overall health and well being. And we also dive into understanding what different symptoms mean, what different parts of the body can resemble, and go much deeper into the idea that the body is just a mirror of your life and is just trying to communicate with you. Okay, so that's it for today. Take care and bye bye.